Nissan Juke Turbo 6MT. I'm not settling. I'm not getting old. I'm not buying a family car. I'm buying something fun. I am Fun Dad. Here I come in my Nissan Juke. I'm Fun Dad. We're going to Colonial Williamsburg. Are we going to Busch Gardens afterwards and ride roller coasters? No! I'm Fun Dad.
I'm Fun Dad.
We're gonna learn all day. Fun Dad, Nissan Juke. When I bought this car at Kunkelman Chevrolet, GMC, Citroen, Nissan, and Incom, I held the keys up and said, I'm ready to juke! And then I got into a quarterback position and passed an invisible football to myself and then ran a zigzag pattern through the parking lot. I'm juking and dodging. Get it? I'm Fun Dad! Go my kids. Touchdown! And the salesperson has to stand there with a plastic smile and force out a daytime talk show laugh. Oh, Nissan Juke. Sunglasses. The owner's inside because he has couldn't get a babysitter, so his pole. What the heck? Okay. So he's inside with Nick. Right clutch to manual. The manual Juke. What do you got for me? Aftermarket pile head unit. Interesting. Climate off. Where's she gonna grab? Oh, that is a... It grabs close to the top. Slushy gearbox, and there's some sort of... What is that? There is a lot of resistance in the clutch, but the clutch itself is very light. So resistance, but also light. Yeah, this would be a very difficult car to learn to drive stick on because it does not... There is hardly any sense of engagement. You almost have to listen to the engine because the engine itself is very quiet. And yeah, you could easily start wearing this clutch out pretty quick, yeah. So is that telling me my turbo pressure? It is. I was telling the air-fuel ratio and something, and my polarized sunglasses don't let it show up. So I'm gonna take my polarized sunglasses off. Here we go. Second gear, build and boost, build and boost, build and boost. It's moving, tiny little turbo. I'm up to fourth gear going uphill. Okay, she does move. I'll give her that. Nissan needed something to compete with the Focus ST, Hyundai Veloster, Civic Si, maybe, but didn't have any small, lightweight hatchbacks that all they had was the Juke. A crossover with all the tuning cred of a roll of Bounty paper towels. The Nissan Juke is a medium-sized crossover liftback with less space in the back because the rear had odd aggressive angles to make it look fast. But because the car is really tall, it just looks like a RAV4 that the shop class goof-off threw against the stationary belt sander when the teacher wasn't looking. This one time, okay, true story. This one time, I won't say the kid's name, but he got us all in trouble. Because when Mr. Savage wasn't looking, real name Mr. Savage, this kid took the big soldering iron and just shoved it right into the side of our only spool of solder. And it wasn't like he only messed up a few layers. This kid had no impulse control. I saw him pull his dick out under the lab table once. He melted a canyon down to the spindle in the center. Great. He ruined our only spool of solder, and then we got to do book work for the rest of the week instead of working on our projects. Anyway, Nissan Juke. Sculp's Hill. What do you got for me? Third, maybe second. Are we gonna be able to climb this in second? Come on, turbo. Okay, foot to the floor is in second. Turbo's coming alive. Good. My little aftermarket do-hobber there. I guess, is flashing red, which means peak boost, I guess. All right. She's chooching. Okay, she likes these hills. Haven't left second gear. As AVE would say, this is a lot more chooch for your chotch what I thought it would do. There is a disconnect because I'm getting a lot of power. I'm getting horsepower, but I'm not getting torque.
Oh my God, what is the point of this car?
The Nissan Juke is a subcompact crossover with all the style of an inflated surgical glove. But at least it's a birthday clown that doesn't charge you 20% APR to pay him off. Yes, you get a 6-speed manual and a 1.6-liter turbo 4, but all you really get from its stock is 188 horsepower and 177 foot-pounds of torque. And while the EPA says the manual for this car is 24 city and 30 highway and 27 combined, Ruben has experienced terrible fuel economy with the Juke, probably worse than the WRX he was trying to get before he got this. Apparently this thing only takes premium. I guess it'll run on 87, but it won't like it. You gotta put the good stuff in there. I mean, it got him like 17 city and 25 highway, but that's not on the highway enough for Ruben to benefit. And I should note that Ruben found an air leak near the blow-off valve that impacted fuel economy and performance, but there's no indication that fuel economy actually got better once he fixed it. To his credit, he actually tried to turn this into something more than the visual equivalent of a dog who's eaten one too many bees. Modifications here include a catback exhaust from OEX, a turbo smart diverter valve from a Subaru WRX, an upgraded intercooler, an in-jet intake, and an upgraded flywheel because the springs tend to fail. And that's pretty much it, apart from painting stuff in the engine bay. Awesome! This was supposed to be peppy before the modifications, but it's also very quiet for a turbo. The modifications allow you to actually hear the exhaust in the turbo because Nissan never met a noise ordinance it couldn't ignore. But then with a Juke, you work with what you can get. Like waiting last minute to order a tux from the wedding even though you didn't even want to go. Is the waist gonna fit? It's gonna have to, buddy. Now suck in that gut like you're taking a 2-week progress photo for the gram. Ruben had to work with whatever he could find parts-wise. Lucky for him, a lot of the parts he needed for modifications were either secondhand or on discount, since a lot of the sources he found were essentially liquidating their supply. And the reason seems pretty straightforward. You can't really get these things new anymore. After the model year of 2017, these were discontinued in the United States. The poor sales were blamed on the styling because that's a good enough reason as any. Even though the Rogue was also ugly and that sold well. This car was the joint venture between Renault and Renault. I'm pronouncing it both ways, so you can yell at me in various ways. And Nissan. So it's very French inside. It's a spaghetti nest of wires and hoses and stuff. I don't want to work on it. Good luck, pal. The design is challenging, but not sophisticated. It looks bad, hard to work on, and you don't even get a dynamic driving experience in the margin. I mean, it's a blessing that this doesn't have the CVT, but that doesn't mean the manual gearbox here is great. So it's sort of a big nothing. I'm going to talk about this in a little bit. It's like stirring a glass of water. And unfortunately, the CVT is the only way you get all-wheel drive in this thing. Here, you're stuck with front-wheel drive if you want to actually have a stick and a clutch. Nissan Juke, the official car of Contrarians. Nissan Juke, sponsored by Pitchfork. Because what appeal does this car have other than giving you the chance to seem special by liking something that no one else does? A car so manifestly unpopular, it was replaced by the Kicks. The Kicks! It's a Nissan Versa on stilts. The Kicks. Tony Airlines and me had one as a rental car for Oshkosh, I forget when. Ugh. Now, in Ruben's defense, it's not like he set out to become a Juke owner. Again, he was looking for a WRX, or maybe a Focus ST. But each one he found was clapped out, and the one nice Mazda 3 that he liked had a blown turbo. He looked at the Juke as a joke, so it was able to catch him off guard because he enjoyed driving it. And it came with the added bonus that he knew his wife would never drive it, not because she couldn't drive stick, but because this thing was ugly as sin. And the salesman was shocked when Ruben expressed interest in this car and asked him if he wanted it, like a tattoo artist checking one last time before etching skibbity toilet into a frat boy's ass cheeks. But Ruben knew he had all the leverage here because this was an eyesore with a manual transmission that had been sitting on the dealership's lot since Rutherford split the atom. They couldn't sell this car if it came with a free reach around, so Ruben got this last year for $6,000. And despite all that, didn't leave him stranded yet. He got it with 111,000 miles, and now it has 118,000 miles. Nissan Juke Turbo, a fast, cheaply built, top-heavy, moderately practical car. It's covered in cysts and other medical protuberances to reassure you that, yes, you are a nonconformist.
Ugh, the shifter and clutch!
It's the most disconnected experience I've ever felt. Worse than the Honda Element. I can only infer by RPM drops and noise where the clutch is grabbing. Gear shift placement, very good. Clutch, distant and far away. It's hard to feel the friction zone. Power, surprisingly very good. I'm guessing there may be a tune on this because Nick is getting the notes from the driver while I'm out here driving this. So it feels a little bit more rowdy than what a funky family crossover, maybe, you know, I'm still a young virile dad car is. I can feel only the slightest resistance when the shifter finds a gear. It's like the bushings are made of jello and silly bands. The power is, with the modifications, above average for a crossover. But you have to get all the way, you have to get the RPM all the way up there to find enough torque to deal with these hills. And it's not like the old KA and SR engines had the torque in the low mid-range, which transferred into horsepower up top. This is just sort of, I guess we have a turbo everywhere. Maybe I'm spoiled. I don't know. Look, if a Skyline is a Louis Vuitton bag, a Juke is a Louis Vuitton bag that you buy from a smelly man's backpack outside the Comedy Cellar. Nissan Juke Turbo, the official crossover of complaining about R34 prices out of nowhere when we were all talking about AMC Jeeps. Nissan Juke with the 6-speed, brought to you by boasting about how no one knows how to drive stick anymore while you're waiting backstage at the 21st annual Chattanooga Bukkake contest sponsored by Berkshire Hathaway and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Nissan Juke, the official car of gathering up my saws and looking down the hall. Here's the seal that holds my feelings.
This land is your land. These are my cockhead glands. Hi, Brian. My name is Fluff. Currently we're hiking the AT. I'm with a group of hikers at the micro trail. And we're looking to get a ride back to Port Clinton, and also, if possible, we'd like to do a stop over at Wall.
For a quick route to find the way back.
We're looking to get moving in about a half hour or so if that's possible, give us a call back at 604-444-444416. The same number I called you out here. Thank you so much and have a great day.
The Juke is a car you buy because you can. But in a way, it's a car you get when you've reached that level of maturity so few of us ever do, where no one's negative opinions can truly reach you. You're mentally off the grid, where social input gets no bars. And it's a great place to be when you have a really ambitious car build, but it's an even better place to be when you have something that can so easily be made the subject of ridicule. Because there are going to be people confused about what this is and why you have it and what you could have possibly ever seen in it. You'll defend this more than any college relationship, all while it gives you less. But it would be a lie to pretend that this is unique to the Nissan Juke. Sure, it might not have much of a point to it, but pointlessness is every bit as much in the eye of the beholder as beauty. As long as it gets you where you need to go, then more power to you. You're just not going to find that power in this motor. I found a new way to poop! I found a new way to poop!
Oh no, it's all going wrong!
So you shift this like a racing sim. Feels like a racing sim. Because you're moving a gear shifter that doesn't feel like it's connected to anything, and pressing on a clutch pedal that doesn't feel like it's connected to anything.